Alright, tonight I'm working on the Robotron Mini. I'm not sure where I last left you guys. It's been a little while, but I do want to let you know that the monitor is installed, and yeah, that's a new old stock monitor. It works, it's been tested, and it's still got the plastic on it. Can't wait to rip that off once we know this game is up and working. It's mounted with that traditional mount that is used in the Williams mini games, and there it is. So this one actually has a built-in isolation transformer, so I'm going to be wiring up the power section of this cabinet. We're going to be putting it down here on the bottom, but it has a traditional style plug on it, so we'll be putting in an outlet and everything for that. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're doing for the power section of this Williams Mini. So this is what I'm thinking for a setup for the power section of the Williams Mini. This is just some leftover 3/4 inch MDF from when I was making the control panel, and I robbed my line filter, my EMI filter, from that test bench because I found them cheap on eBay, but I didn't feel like waiting 2 to 3 weeks for it to get here from Hong Kong. So I've robbed this one for now, but when I get down the road I'll put this one back and put a new one on. I picked up an AC inlet that's you can easily get off of Amazon. They're like $6 or $7. Uses a standard PC style connector, and it's got the prongs on the back so you can actually go ahead and wire it. This is fused. It has a fuse built into it, and that just pops right in there. So that's how we're going to plug in the AC. So the idea here is that we're going to have our plug from the wall going into this AC inlet, and we'll use this switch to then go over to the power line filter here, and then it's going to go from the power line filter to a traditional AC outlet. And I picked up this gray box here, this for outlets or receptacles. You can pick that up at any hardware store, and it's got the mounting tab, so I can go ahead and screw this on, and I'll put a faceplate on top of it. Now just a couple quick things. Just remember, brass is your hot, so black wire to brass when you're doing traditional house AC, and the white goes to the silver tab over here, and the green is your ground. Now I think what I'm going to do, and maybe somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to tie this ground that's coming off of here into the ground that's actually coming off the wall, and I'll also ground it in a couple other places. And this is where our AC will come in, right here. What I also did is I found an old AC wire that I had from when I had stripped off that wire to probably put in a marquee light in one of the games. So I've got a nice plug here, and I just wired it straight up to the power supply. So if I need to switch out a power supply, I've got it there and I can just plug it in. Actually makes it very easy to go between the two. But there we go. That's pretty much it. And the monitor is going to plug in here as well, kind of like what you see on the Nintendo cabinets, where they've got a little receptacle down there for you to plug into. And I don't need to worry about an isolation transformer in this case, because the monitor I've got actually has the isolation transformer built in. If you didn't have that, you would make sure that you have an isolation transformer here before you sent the AC over to the monitor, and you would probably not need this traditional style outlet. But that's what I'm going to do for this. This will be more of a modern setup, because that new old stock monitor uses a traditional plug. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start wiring up the switch, and I'll show you everything once it's all connected. Alright, so I've gone ahead and I've finished up my wiring for the AC power and then over to the power supply. Here is my AC inlet. Here is my power line filter, my EMI filter, and it goes to a receptacle here that I'll be using for my power supply and my monitor. I don't need an isolation transformer, so I don't have to worry about that. It's built into the monitor. But here we go. Here is the AC inlet. This is the one that you can get off of Amazon. It takes a standard computer style power cord that goes in. But let's go ahead and take a look at the back. Let's see if we can see this. So if we take a look, this wire, this lug here on the end, that is for the ground. The red is for the neutral, and the black wire I'm continuing to keep as the hot. I didn't have an extra white wire to go between the two. And then they both go over to the switch. This is on the off side, and then I've got it so that way when you flip it to on, it continues out and goes to my power line filter. Now it'll be wired like this, so I can keep my black going through. My black goes to my brass on my outlet. And as I said before, black to brass and the white to the silver, and I attached my ground in here to the green plug there. I've also got it grounded here and tapped into the line that goes out to the wall. And then I've also put a field ground in for my power supply that I'll be able to mount to that as well. I'll just put it onto that screw terminal there. Not terminal, it's just the screw there. And we should be good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. We'll connect everything and we'll see if we actually have voltage through it as we should. Now real quick, I do want to talk about the AC inlet because I know this is where all the questions arise. If we look on this side, this is where the power is coming in. Okay, and if you look, I'm not sure if you guys can see it, you can see we've got the L for the line, and that is fused. So this is where it's coming in from the wall. It comes down to here and goes through the fuse. Okay, and then this black wire, which is still my line, my hot, comes over to the switch. And then when the switch is flipped, the black line, the hot, continues out and goes to my power line filter, but I've got another terminal here on the end. And you can also do the same thing with the neutral wire. So I took the neutral and I went over the switch as well. So both the hot and the neutral are on the switch at the same time. And then you also want to make sure that your ground connects as well to wherever your load is, meaning it's going to connect to this. So my green wire will come to here and everything's going to get connected into this like that. Okay, I just wanted to go over that and make sure that's clear, because this can get a little confusing going between everything. If you got any questions, please let me know, and as always, if you see something that I did wrong, please let me know. I'm always open to suggestions. So before I actually power anything with it, like the power supply or the monitor, I'm going to check my voltage and make sure my AC coming in is good. So I've got the plug going over to the switch there. It's currently off. I've got my multimeter here, and it is currently reading 0.02. And we'll go ahead and see what happens when we turn it on. We got a light there, that's good. And we come over to the voltage meter. We've got 118 volts AC. So there we go. That's good. That's what my house AC is. I'm going to check the other outlet as well just to make sure that it's good. Let's go ahead and we'll shut it off and try it again. So I've gone ahead and moved my multimeter over to the top outlet there. We are reading 0.02. Let's go ahead and turn it on and see what happens. And there we go. We've got 117.8. There we go, there's 118. But there we go, we've got our voltage. So everything here is good. I can go ahead now and I can start screwing everything into this board. And we'll screw the power supply in and we're going to be good to go. So here we go, everything is secured for the power supply and the receptacle there. I've got my AC inlet here, my power line filter. Everything's ready to go. So all I need to do now is drop this board into the cabinet and mount the AC inlet to the outside of the back of that cabinet, and we're good to go. The one thing I've noticed is that these terminals that I've used, these insulated terminals, I think I must have gotten some cheap ones because I've already broken a few of them. So we're gonna hope that those stay, and maybe we'll actually replace those if needed. But there we go. So this is the setup. We've got our power supply, receptacle for the power supply and the monitor, power line filter, AC inlet. I think we're going to be good to go. I might go ahead and dial in the power supply just to make sure it's not crazy, and then when we put some load into it, we'll dial it in again. So I just finished up doing the power section for the Robotron Mini, and here it is sitting in the bottom of the cabinet. It's not screwed in or anything. I'm just kind of testing a couple things to make sure everything works. I've got everything plugged in. I've got that black power cord that goes to my monitor, and there it is up there, and there's that little isolation transformer for it. And I also have that white wire which goes to my power supply. Made that nice and easy. Got my EMI filter and everything's connected here to this switch. And what we're going to do now is we're going to test the J-Rock board with the monitor, and we're going to see if everything's good. I did do a quick power on just to make sure that power was going to everything real quick, just to make sure nothing, blew up. But let's go ahead and turn it on and see what happens, see if anything brings to life. I did wire up the JAMA harness just to the power supply, and I have everything kind of loosely twisted together here just to make sure I've got all my wires correct, specifically my sync wires. And then once I know that those are good, I'll go ahead and finish up those connections so we know that it actually is legitimate. But let's go ahead and we'll turn it on and see what happens here. So monitor's coming on. Let's go around in the front and take a look. Okay. Well, I did have this set with the TPG, so let's just check the sync switch, because one was different for the TPG. So let's take a quick look in here. So in there's two switches. One's for the horizontal sync and one's for the vertical. Let's try the horizontal sync real quick. So I just changed it over to negative. And let's take a look. Hey, there we go. This thing is alive. But of course I still need to put the marquee and the speakers in and do the control panel, but we have a thing. This thing is working. So now I need to go ahead and finish wiring everything up. But this is good. That means the power section's good, the monitor's good, and this is starting to take shape here. Hopefully I can get this control panel done and put the marquee in and get the speaker connected, and then we actually have a working game. So there we go. Well, let's we'll shut the thing off and we'll go from here. So our basic test setup is working, and that means I can finalize my connections here for the video monitor. Now I do have two sync wires here that go to the monitor, and only one sync wire coming up from the JAMA harness. So I actually connected all those together. So that's the way it's going to be for this monitor. All right, let's go ahead and start finalizing connections. All right, guys, there you go. That is the basics of the power section of this Robotron Mini that we've been building. All right, guys, thanks a lot. And as always, if you have any questions or suggestions, please feel free to let me know. Sorry, this wasn't too exciting, but this is kind of the nitty-gritty of what we need at the bottom of this cabinet. All right, thanks a lot, and take it easy.